YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Planet Coaster Strategy and Tactics Episode 2. So, when we last left our little garden of a coaster park here, well, I should say a theme park, there's only one coaster at the moment, things are starting to liven up. Now, playing on the harder difficulty mode does make it harder to bring people in, but mercifully, the game does give you a chunk of people at the beginning, and gives you a chunk of people for, well, pretty much every ride you build. It's not a big chunk, but it's a chunk, and that's all we really need right now. Look, we're already back into the black. Despite ending our last episode at negative 600 or so. And that is primarily coming from here, our coaster. Every single person who enters this coaster is paying me $20. And for a huge party like this, that's $20 a head. That's $60 right there. That's $100 right there. That's $160 I just made from those groups of people walking on through. Because they pay up front here. Now granted, if something happens to the ride and they have to exit, they get refunds, but Flight of the Bumblebee is a good value. Really now? We can't be having good values here. $25 for you. How dare you complain about things being good value. I'll teach you good value. Alright, another full load. But yeah, you can see the capacity. Like, yeah, people are just barely starting to fill in the queue for the next round. And it's not due to, well, it is kind of due to lack of people, but it's also not due to lack of, well, support for the ride. It's just a matter of just having enough warm bodies to keep this thing humming. And we got our families queuing up here for our prancing through the flowers here. And, of course, our angry swarm. We get nice little flybys by our coaster here. So yeah, these rides are all, well, pretty much maintaining their throughput here. Do we have any too intense? That's fine. Queue looks fast. That's good. Fast. Yeah, the queue was quick or it looks quick. That's fine. Those are fine messages to get. If you get the this is a really good value, that means you're not charging enough. Now, you also, if you get the I'm not paying that much or this is way too expensive, then you're charging too much and you want to back it down because you don't want to lose out on people riding your rides just because they think it's too expensive. Better to have a little bit less money than to have no money and have someone just turn themselves away. I thought I set this to leave at any time. Oh, minimum waiting time, right. That works. And I mean, you're paying your maintenance regardless of how often the train operates, so it's not like you're going to save a few bucks to having it wait there for full. It's just more of a logistics thing. Yeah, lots of repeat customers here. But eventually they'll run out of money, unfortunately. But hey, speaking of money, we are getting money in quite healthfully. So I think what I'm going to do here is get a little bit more scenery going here. Not that I need it for the ratings, but again, we're making a aesthetically pleasing park as well as a numerically pleasing park. And we need some lighting. And actually, since it's getting late, what I'm going to do before I start plunking that down, go to overview here. We're going to set the park to close at 11. Now, as far as what that does to the park, nothing. Gameplay-wise, nothing. It just determines when the park goes dark, when the park and how much dark time you have in the park. But now that it's nighttime, I can more effectively place my lights here. And these lamps are, I mean, they come for free. You don't need to research them. You don't need to pay maintenance on them, which is nice. Some attractions require research. Oh, I think these might be a little off due to head choppers. So let us see. Can we get? Yes, we can get that one over here. So can we squeeze this? Because not to mention this ride needs a fair amount of clearance for it to do its spinning thing. So some of this might be... Aha! Beautiful. Oop. I'll place more lights when it comes to nighttime again. And, oh wow, hey, we beat... we got that one and that one. So 2,000 more bucks for free. So we're now up to 3,680. Let's see how we're doing here. Well, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and hire our mechanic. Now, as far as preventative maintenance, you want to take an eye on the maintenance tab here, and you want to look at the statistics and look at this, the reliability. Now, different rides have different reliability. Generally, the more complex the ride or the larger the ride, the lower the base reliability. And therefore the more likely it is to break down. What I like to do is, for a average reliability ride, I like to put it to inspections on every 20 minutes. Basically what happens is inspections is, see this up here, this wear and tear? As the ride continues being used, this will slowly creep down. The further down it gets, the more likely it is that the ride will actually fully break down, and that generally makes people a lot upset. Now what happens is when a ride gets inspected, the mechanic will come up here. He won't shut the whole ride down, but what he will do, But what he will do is he'll pause the ride just for a moment, and then restore some of the wear and tear just from inspecting it. So he will generally keep rides from breaking down by inspections. Right then, we got ourselves a completed bit of research. Our first aid, yay! Bing! Don't care about the first aid. Not right now, anyway. Here's why we research first aid, because you need it to get to the ATM. We want the ATM. That we are running, not walking to the ATM. And since we have some decent cash flow going here, actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna excessively research stuff because I want to save up cash for our second coaster, which is under research as we speak. One thing I can do, however, to save us some cash in the long run, is up the amount that we're paying off our loan by per month, naturally. We might not be able to pay it off entirely, but if you step up your payments, the loan will be paid off faster, and therefore your total amount of interest paid on said loan will be less. And since we're making beaucoup bucks, we can afford the higher payment schedule. Speaking of payment, oh yeah, this line's a little bit long. We could probably crank the price up a little higher. Really good value, yep. Let's pop you to 14. Now, these people already prepaid at 12, so we're not going to instantly get more cash from them. But generally speaking is, and here's a little trick to gauge how your prices are compared to the value of the ride, is the more valuable, quote unquote, a ride is to somebody, the longer they're willing to wait in the line. So the longer the line that forms, barring, length restrictions on the queue itself, the more valuable a ride is to people. Now, the ideal is when it's exactly like one ride fulls long. Like, it gets to one ride fulls long, and then anyone new says, I'm not paying that, I'm not queuing that long for that ride. That's fine. That's fine. Because we still have a full boat of people waiting in line for the next time the ride turns over, but we're still getting tons of money out of it. As far as this coaster, I don't think it's a lack of value or popularity. I think this thing just churns through so many people that it literally, there's just not enough warm bodies in the park to keep this thing fully saturated. Now, as we build out our park, we'll be getting more warm bodies in the park, and said warm bodies will we'll be keeping the coaster a bit busier as we go along. And I mean, certainly I'm not begrudging the people that are riding it here. We are still making ourselves a healthy lifetime profit. This coaster is pretty much what's driving most of our earnings right now. Okay, let us fast forward some time here. Also, just to let you know that two ticks here is double speed, but 3 ticks is 5 times the speed, not triple speed. What we are waiting for is to get ourselves our research in. And yeah, we pretty much have to wait for the end of the day here. It takes 3 months to get yourself a coaster. In fact, you know what? I think it's high time we got this family ride going here, because this thing, it doesn't cost too much. It's only $1,000 total, but it takes a while. It takes 2 months. So we want to get that ride plus the other ride going at about the same time. And since you can only have 3 research projects going at once, it makes a lot of sense to do that. Because at this point, we are making enough money that, yeah, I mean, we're not losing money. I love it that it speeds up the song. And it's already a fairly fast song. It's going 5 times. So everyone's pouring out. Oh, wait, hang on. It's nighttime, and nighttime is the right time to place lights. I also might flesh out more of the bushes. Again, just for the sake of park aesthetic. Not to mention that even if you've maxed out on your ride queue ratings, and it doesn't feel like there's any more benefit to placing more scenery, there is, and that benefit is in the form of your park scenery rating, which ours is at the moment a 17. And not to mention, there's also a park balance rating, which I don't fully understand it yet, but I think it's basically making sure you have enough scenery paired with your rides. So if you're too scenery heavy, or if you're too ride heavy, that bonus won't be so good. 9 seems normal at this stage of the game. I'm probably more ride heavy than scenery heavy, but eventually in time we'll make improvements to that. Yeah, just a few more light spots here, just to lighten up our paths here. Not strictly speaking required, but again, we're going for the aesthetics, both actual aesthetics and also rides, park scenery ratings. So it serves a dual purpose. Because I'd like to design a park in which I would actually want to go visit it myself. And this is a pretty darn cool park at the moment, for a little park, if I do say so myself. Pardon. All right, what I think I will do is probably fill in the rest of this with bushes, again, for the total park scenery rating, not so much for the queue ratings anymore. Not to mention, there is another benefit to adding more scenery. If you look here at the testing here, at the results, track scenery rating. This is a very quiet, very hidden, very ill understood rating here, but it essentially is basically how well themed and how well sceneried your whole coaster is. It is a separate rating from your queue scenery, which is its own thing, but it has an impact on the ride. People are willing to pay more for a ride where the whole track is actually sceneried and themed. Right now we are at a low. which is one step up from the very low. But by putting more bushes around here and just continuing to sceneryify, well, basically the whole park, we will slowly and surely be building this track scenery rating up higher and higher, because this ride is basically going to encapsulate the entirety of the first part of our park. This park has several sections to it. Or will be having several distinctly themed sections. So it's, like I said in the last episode, not going to all be about the bees. All right, folks, let me fast forward here to place some more bushes and also advance some time. So I'll see you on the flip side. Okay, that's enough with the bushes. I think we've done enough for the moment. As you can see, I'm filling up every available bit of grass because I really want this to be like a super dense garden here. I'm just glad they don't make you maintain the bushes here. We're gonna have to hire like 1 million gardeners. Right then. Oh yeah, forgot. This thing requires, because it's average, needs an inspection every 20 minutes. The Venetian Carousel is considered high reliable, so I'm going to keep that on 30 minutes because it degrades slower. I mean, granted, it still needs an inspection in about 4 minutes or so, but that's okay. Challenge available. Let's see what we got here. Scenery rating of fording. We profit of 1,000. All right, I think we can make those. How are we doing on our research? Oh, our ATM is here. When did that happen? All right, we've got an ATM to place. And by an ATM to place, we have an ATM to design. Because I'm not just going to slap any old thing down here. We got to stick to our themes here. And while not necessarily hypercritical to the success of our ATM, we still want this park to look nice, okay? Okay? So we're going to be doing a little aesthetics right here. But first, we got to extend our path here just a little bit. Our main arterial path, that is. So we will widen this beast back up again. Oop, wrong one. I think we want to go this way with it. That doesn't look right with both of those gone. I'll sacrifice one of the supports. There we go. Again, I'm about the aesthetics as much as I am about the others. All right, so our ATM. Oops. Shops and facilities. ATM. Custom. Where are you? There you are. $100. Now, we're not just throwing down just an ATM, but what we want to do, and we have the game paused for this, is we want to start with the ATM as a base. So we're going to throw this down right here. Beep, beep, beep. Now this has made a building for us, building number 5. And that's an important distinction here because of what we're going to do with it. What I want to do with it is one other bee-themed thing that I want to kind of start building into the park here, besides flowers and yellow and red stripes on everything, is honeycombs. Bees make honeycombs. So we want to sort of honeycombify lots of things. Now, I was looking through the parts list before. Stucco kind of works, but it doesn't really have the flexibility in shape, in shapes the way I want it to. So we are going to go to the harder tools here. And by the harder tools, I mean the art shapes. These art shapes can be used to make essentially anything in the game, as long as you have the design prowess of it. I have a lot of respect for 3D modelers because getting these things to combine to make what you're having in mind is not easy. But it is quite powerful. I saw someone on the Planet Coaster subreddit making basically all the characters in the Mario universe out of these different shapes. And that way you could import them and make a Mario-themed amusement park, which is awesome. We are not going to do that, but we are going to be making... take this as sort of a basic tutorial for them. Now, what I'm looking for here, not rectangle, square, extra large. Yeah, we'll go for extra large. So what I want to do is I want to make a honeycomb. Now, if we remember from our geometry classes, honeycombs are hexagons, and hexagons are rotated at a 60-degree angle. So one of the things we can use to make a hexagon here without having to rely on eyeballing is by making the angle snap go to 30. It doesn't go all the way to 60, but it does go to 30, and then you can just rotate it by 2 there. So what we're going to do here is we want to make a honeycomb, sort of a dome over this thing. So we're going to hit X to get customized. This allows you to customize the rotation and also the placement of an object. So we're going to go to custom rotation, and we're going to rotate it along this axis twice. 2 ticks of 30 degrees makes an exactly 60-degree angle. Now we want to use the world axis to move this object. Yeah, translate, but we want see how it's kind of skewed here. We want to make sure. Oh no, this is the world axis. So here we drag it up a little bit here. Drag it over here. Now there's some eyeballing involved here, but it is not quite as demanding. Let me get in there a little tight. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so we've got those set like that. Now, now here's a little trick I realized here. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. If we go back to select building, and we do edit building, and once you've selected a building, you can now select objects, freestanding objects within it. And now with these 2 freestanding objects, we can clone them. And now, with them, we can do our same thing, but rotate them a few more times. I think that is the proper. Use the world axes. Yeah, that's better. And it'll just take us a little time to get these hooked on to these. There's not a huge amount of gameplay benefits to doing these. Also, I'm going to need to change the color of all these because we want them yellow because, well, they're honeycombs. But aesthetically, it gives your park its own identity, gives it some character, you know? And there are some time-saving measures to sort of rinse and reuse some of these patterns that you're doing. Yeah, see, these 2 are not really lined up the way the bottom ones are. Or actually, they kind of are, but it's crooked a little bit. Well, hang on. We'll just pull you up a little bit. Yeah, you're fine there. And then you need to get tugged over just a touch. That looks better. Beautiful. And now we just need to duplicate it on the other side here. So hit Control and click. We need, what, 3 more sides? Duplicate those 3. X to rotate them. And translocate. Use world axis. Thank you. Oop, more rotation needed. Boop. That's more like it. All right, let's get you here. Is it going to just let me place it right there on the ATM? Might. I mean, that's not going to be my final decision on how we place this thing. Something is wrong. Something ain't right here. I think we're off a rotation here. Oh, because we have 1 extra piece. Derp to derp. And we're 1 fewer rotation. All right. No? Yes. Yes. That's a proper hexagon, right? All right. There we go. Our own little honeycomb here. Let's just get things lined up a little bit here for my own sanity's sake. Now, for the moment, we're going to move the ATM away. Well, hang on, let me just inspect this for correctness. Yeah, this is a little off right here, these two. No, not the ATM. Just this and that. That's better. The reason I'm being so anal about this is, well, there's a couple reasons. Let me move you, Mr. ATM. And now, what we're going to do here, because we're going to be duplicating this a lot, so we're going to highlight all of these. So, oops, nope, we don't want the tree back there, and we don't want the ride as part of it. 1 buildings. We just want the scenery. Alright, here's what we gotta do. Because we gotta break these things off from the building. Edit building. Split from building. So it becomes its own building. And that way we can now select this as their own building with nothing else. We make that a blueprint. So now we can reuse this over and over again. Oh wait, derp to derp. I never recolored the damn things. We want them nice and yellow. Do we want the light yellow or the darker? I think 1 shade darker yellow will work. I mean, it looks kind of yellow, but I don't want it to be greenish. There. That's better. Okay, now we circle it. Blueprint it. And we have to tag it, and I will tag it as a other scenery, create blueprint. All right. Now, Now we can use this for our own designs. Like, oh, I don't know. What if, oh, not multi-selection. What if, I'm getting to it, game. What if, edit building, move, what if we move you like right here? And what if, can I select all of you? Yeah, add the scenery to the ATM. Now we gotta straighten this ATM out a little bit here. Edit building. Because I don't like it kind of like half buried there. I guess it has to go on a grid. Well, then we will half bury these things. There. And it's nice and centered there. So now we pick up the whole selection. And Viola. We have ourselves a honeycomb ATM. Now, we want to put something on the back here. It looks a little naked. Like an end cap of some sort. Is there a hexagon shape? Like a flat hexagon? I might have to tool around with that off screen. But for now, we'll call it done and let us kick up the speed. The ATM is a very, very important building. And there's a very specific reason why we are building it at the earliest point possible. Because this thing, eating $25 a pop, will quickly cause people to go broke. Now, people have the ability to recharge their money once. So he had $99.31 on arrival. He spent $75 of it. But now he's recharged himself with 65 more bucks. 65 more bucks that could potentially go in my pocket. So as people run out of money, if they got nothing to do and they can't do anything, they can't afford any of the rides, they'll just go home. But if they run out of money and they haven't visited the ATM yet, they will go seek out the ATM and get themselves more money to give to me. And again, because there are so few warm bodies on the harder difficulty, you need to extract every red cent from every warm body there is. So the ATM is key. Get some honey. And let's change the color scheme here. Go with the yellow and the black. Wait, why'd you? Oh, you guys don't need to hit the ATM. You guys are still loaded. You haven't spent jack yet. Go on my coaster. Why aren't you going on my coaster? You guys like that kind of thing. You're just wandering. You're not queuing that long for Flight of the Bumblebee? What? What? Alright, maybe I do need to tone the price down a little bit. Because we want people to be willing to queue longer for this. Not willing to queue that long. Come on. Really? That means we were like right on the cusp of the... There's no space to queue for prancing through the flowers. Oh, come now. There's plenty of space for you to queue. I don't want to hear it. There must have been just a stupidly long line there. Whoa! Well, that's not good. Luckily, I have my mechanic. All right, folks. Well, with a little bit of ingenuity, we can turn this simple and humble shape here into some major theming for the park. So if you like this episode, you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget about that new notification bell. That helps out as well. It's like a second subscription that makes your subscribe button work the way it used to. Thank you, YouTube. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya!